welcome to the National Charter Schools Conference. Thank you, Jed, for that very kind introduction. We are thrilled to be in Texas this year, and we couldn't have picked a better state to host our conference in than this great state. Now, as some of you know, I've known a few Texans in my lifetime, and what they all have in common is that they like to think and dream big. Texas, after all, helped launch the space race, and big dreamers have been pushing beyond Earth ever since. Texas is also the incubator of some of the nation's strongest charter school networks. Yes Prep, KIPP, yeah, an idea. That's right. They all got their start right here in Texas, and they all went on to win the Broad Prize for the nation's best charter school network. But it's not just large networks that have thrived in this great state. It's small operators and single-site operators too. Schools like Odyssey Academy, I know there you go. NEOS, Houston Gateway, there we go. These are just a few examples of great schools that don't have a big national profile, but are having a huge impact in the communities they serve. These schools thrive because Texas has one of the nation's strongest charter school environments. The law here places a premium on quality. It provides resources for facilities, although we can always use more of those. And it encourages school districts to partner with charter schools as partners and as innovators. But as all of you know, the Texas charter school movement wasn't always a high-performing one. It took dedication, leadership, and hard work from the state's own school leaders, including the leadership of the Texas Charter Schools Association, to put the state on the right track. Their work is a testament of what can happen when we confront our weaknesses and commit ourselves to addressing them. With so many big ideas in the Texas air, we knew there could only be one theme for this year's conference: empowered to dream big. Charter schools, after all, are a big idea. It's easy to forget that in our day-to-day work, but finding innovative ways to educate students, offering parents a variety of public school options, giving inspired leaders the freedom to organize their schools, rewarding teachers for helping their students reach their potential. These are big ideas, and they're at the heart of what we do every day. So let me give you the bird's eye view of where this big movement is right now. This year, we continue to see charter school enrollments grow, but we didn't see as many new charter schools open as we had seen before. We saw Puerto Rico embrace the charter school model as they seek to rebuild their commonwealth after last year's devastating hurricane, and we're excited to be working with them. We saw many states, Texas, Illinois, Florida, Colorado, and many more, step up to the plate and offer more funding for charter school students. States are also starting to acknowledge that our students should be shortchanged on facilities. They deserve to attend schools in high-quality facilities that were made for high-quality learning. And we were thrilled this last March when Congress approved $400 million for the charter schools program. The highest funding level for this program in history. Now, this money is important because over half of new and expanding charter schools around the country currently benefit from the charter schools program. But that number is not enough. This year, we're asking for $500 million from Congress. When they pass their budget, we're asking for $500 million, and we would love your support in making sure that they deliver on this higher figure. We also saw some significant victories this past year in the court of law and in the court of public opinion. At the same time, we also saw continued research findings that demonstrate charter schools are not only benefiting the students attending our schools, but also the students in nearby public schools. But still, our movement isn't everywhere it should be. Even in those places where we have a lot of charter schools, as all of you know, we have large wait lists. And there are vast areas where there are no charter schools and where you have a huge number of low-income families who are desperately looking for better educational options. A recent report called these communities charter school deserts, places where charter schools simply haven't taken root, and you see a few of those names on this map. Some also worry that our schools are becoming too conventional, following old familiar patterns instead of breaking out and leading the way. Now, it's true that our schools are more innovative, but to be honest, when you think about it, district schools aren't really setting the bar high when it comes to innovation. We need to step up. As we think about the future of our movement, the future that our students are going to step into, we need to keep dreaming big. And we need to turn those dreams into action. How do we ensure that we're meeting the diverse needs of our diverse student population? How do we prepare our students for a future that's very different from the future that we had in mind when we were in school? Now, this is always on my mind these days because I now have a 13-year-old daughter, hard to believe, and Sophia is going to join us tomorrow, and all she cared about is whether this conference will be promoted on Instagram. So if you guys have Instagram accounts, please use them so she thinks we're cool. My parents wanted me to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. That's most immigrant families, that's what they want for their kids, by the way. Clearly, I had other ideas. Those professions will still be around when Sophia and your students grow up. But what new skills will be needed to thrive in those professions? Better yet, what new jobs will be available when they grow up? And what jobs will disappear? What happens when the next big disruptive technology disrupts whole industries, when self-driving cars and artificial intelligence and virtual reality disrupt whole industries and the jobs that go along with them? As we battle to overcome persistent equity gaps between the rich and the poor, between people of different races and ethnic backgrounds, between men and women, new gaps are emerging. In the future, those who are fluent in technology will thrive. People who aren't will struggle. People who can think critically about issues and solve problems will succeed. People who can't will struggle. People who are flexible and agile, those who can overcome the unexpected, they will succeed. Others will struggle. We need to ask ourselves, are we preparing our students to succeed? Are we leveraging our freedom to innovate and challenging our peers to dream big? Charter schools are empowered to teach in new ways, to teach to the future. Think about it. We have the flexibility to bring in new learning tools and games and curricula without having to clear it through a bureaucracy. The flexibility to organize the school day and the year differently. The flexibility to group students not just by age, but by ability and by interest. The flexibility to offer personalized learning that is often more engaging for our students. The flexibility to get our students out of the classroom into businesses and state houses or even nature, to offer them a more holistic view of the world. The more we take advantage of these flexibilities, the more we'll prepare our students to meet what's ahead. All of this makes the charter school movement more important than ever before. But to keep fulfilling these promises and our promise to our students, we have to tackle a few challenges. I'm going to name 4 of them today. First, we need to make sure that we're using our freedom to dream big and be innovative so that we're preparing our students for the future. Now, if any of you could predict the future, I doubt you'd be here on a hot June day in Austin at the convention center. Although looking around the room, I think some of you actually might be here, so I take that back. We can't predict the future, but we can make some educated guesses about what our students may need when they graduate. For instance, Purdue University opened a charter school to attract more students in the STEM fields to Purdue, and especially students from low-income and diverse backgrounds. We'll actually hear from a brilliant Purdue graduate in a few minutes. The reason Purdue opened the charter school is because, as the president put it, if they had waited for school districts to send them enough STEM scholars, they wouldn't be able to meet their goals. They were attracting students from all over the world before they were getting them from Indianapolis, which was right next door. What do business and academic leaders in your community say they need? How can you adapt your school to ensure that your graduates are learning the skills they need in order to go to college and get jobs? For those of us in the advocacy space, are we talking to each other and sharing what we learn? There's some great organizations that can help us do that. I have a couple of them up on the board. It's going to come up in a second. We need to spend far more time talking to each other. We need to spend time thinking, analyzing, capturing, and most of all, sharing. As teachers, are we actually empowered to teach with technology and curriculum that works? Curriculum and content are not the sexy topics that get our parents and teachers out to rallies, but ultimately what you teach and how well you teach it is all that matters. This morning, the 2018 Broad Prize winner will be announced. They're all sitting out here. Last year's winner, Success Academy, used its award to set up the Education Institute. It's an online portal with teaching resources that have been rigorously tested, and it's a terrific tool. If you haven't taken a look at it, it's one of those teaching tools that we think you should try to use and test if you haven't already. Our second challenge is to keep growing our schools and expanding into new communities so that more students can access what we have to offer. And as we do that, we also have to push ourselves to serve more students, especially students with special needs. I recently visited the Dream Charter School in Harlem, appropriately named. Dream started as an activity program, just 2 baseball diamonds and some volunteers. But they soon realized that the needs were much greater than what they were offering. So they started an after-school program, and then a summer school program, and finally a charter school. Dream Charter School is absolutely committed to meeting the needs of the students in its community. When a seat becomes available, the school backfills with a new student. 27% of Dream students have special needs, higher than the citywide average. Dream students also outperform city and district peers on both English language arts and in math exams. Dream is getting great results for diverse students. It's an inspiring example of what can happen when we set our mind to serving the needs of our community, when we turn our dreams into action. Educational excellence and educational equity are 2 fights we have to wage together. Third, we need to be focused on our main mission, which is to serving all the students who come to our schools. As all of you know, education is a powerful tool to fight poverty and other social challenges. And we also know that education works best when our students come to school ready to learn. It's hard to learn on an empty stomach, or when you've slept in your car, or when you're sick and you haven't had a chance to visit a doctor yet, or when you're worried about immigration authorities knocking on your doors. As charter school leaders and advocates, we need to be aware of the problems that our students bring with them to school, but we also need to do what's best, what parents have asked us to do, and that's to concentrate our time, energy, and resources to ensure that we're actually educating our students to the best of our abilities. At the same time, we need to find good partners who have expertise in the other areas that impact our students' lives. I list 4 groups up here for you. We can be part of coalitions of caring organizations that offer different capacities to make our students' lives better, and we need to truly leverage these tools as much as possible. Finally, last but not least, we have to be ready to defend our schools and the freedoms that come with chartering. I say this every year, so I'm going to say it again. A good reason to build alliances with other social justice organizations is that when we are under attack, we can lean on partners that know us, that have seen our work, and who can defend us against those who are misrepresenting us. But of course, the best defense is always ourselves, a good offense. Are your families mobilized to defend their schools when someone tells politicians that it's not a public school, that it doesn't deserve fair funding, that it's taking resources from district schools? We know these arguments are coming. We hear them all the time. Teachers, do you correct people when people tell you that you don't teach at a public school? Better yet, do you explain what charter schools are and what they aren't? On Wednesday, we're going to hear from Sidney Chafee, the 2017 National Teacher of the Year. Sidney is the first Teacher of the Year to have taught at a charter school, but she always reminds people that she is a public school teacher first. Let's be loud and proud of our schools and our kids. Let's make sure that our parents are using their voices to defend their schools, that they're defending the right to choose a great school, an innovative public school that's delivering for their child's future. Because if we don't stand up, no one else will. It's too easy to revert back to the status quo, to make every school march to the same tune, but we know where that leads, and we can't go there. We have to keep dreaming big, and we have to use our actions to inspire others to dream big. Our students, our parents, our mayors, our governors, and our members of Congress. The future demands that we think and dream big for our students, and I'm very excited to spend the next 3 days doing that with you. Thank you.